digesting our supper. Oh, chicken, and potato salad, and when we're comfortable again, a little bit of cantaloupe. A few years ago, I had a above ground pool, or we did. This was over at the other house, so it would have been probably about a dozen years ago. Anyway.
2013.
Yeah. And then,
Well, 12.
yeah,
2000.
because and we'd had it for about a year then. Anyway, I got pneumonia really bad, and he thought it probably came from that pool. But it was also a lot to keep up. So we told our daughter she could have it. No, she didn't want it. So we stored it here for a long time, and Joe went over to the neighbors across the street this way and asked if they wanted it. They've just been loving it ever since. So when you hear those kids kind of whoop and holler a bit, that's it. They're getting a good swim.
Well, I sold it to him.
Oh, you did?
Very cheap.
Oh,
$50.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's pretty darn cheap.
But
It's great to see him enjoying
at
it.
least somebody's using it.
Yeah. Doesn't look like it deteriorated at all. Oh, that was a nice breeze.
Mm-hmm.
Did you feel that?
Mm-hmm. Coming from the north.
Felt really good. Oh. That's one thing. We have a fairly good windbreak from the quanset the guy put up next door. I don't know, you call those quansets or
Yeah.
machine sheds? What do you call them?
Either way.
Story about that. I still have stories, yes. You don't live to, 67 and not have stories. Anyway, when my mom and her parents moved to Blue Rapids from Missouri, they didn't have a lot of money for, it was, I don't know, whatever year it was. Mom was still in high school. I think she had 1 year or something left. But anyway, they didn't have a lot of money. And so Grandpa bought this old quanset that still sits there to this day, but he bought it and he kind of fixed the interior up a little bit, and they lived in that quanset. Now, I remember that would have been back in the late 40s, something like that. And I do now. Your grandpa Fralin, didn't he speak of living in a
Train car.
train car? Yeah. And they had several kids, and they lived in a train car that was out, just kind of setting out in the, and I mean, the Depression was the Depression. Dad was, and others like him were fortunate to have a farm, or their parents did, had a farm where they already owned it. They had, had what they needed to live. Although Dad talked about during the Depression when they were eating oatmeal for almost every meal. And Grandpa, you very seldom saw Grandma really lose her temper. But from what I understand, Grandpa said something about being sick of oatmeal. And she turned around and she got mad, and she says, "You're lucky to have this. Don't just..." She gave him a bawling out. So he backed off and ate his oatmeal. So yeah, people, Well, shoot, back during the Dust Bowl, people were living in, little town, what do they call those, shanty towns? They were.
Something like that. I don't know.
My sister was saying here a while back when we were having some problems with some dust storms, they weren't nearly as bad here. Well, I mean, there's one that had a picture up that it was bad, but I guess up in South Dakota, they had one that caused a pileup on the highway, so. Dust storms aren't funny. If a lot of those were planted as cedars near the homes, along the along the creeks and stuff, they planted a lot of Dutch elms and stuff like that. And they weren't very hardy trees, but they're getting to an age now that I don't know, they need to replace a lot of them. I don't know much about it, but anyhow, but when it's that dry and you got a lot of dust out there, it's gonna blow if you don't have something to stop it. Sounds like a mad cry. It doesn't sound like a hurt or a sad. It sounds like a mad cry. But it depends on her parent. They know their kids cry. Isn't it weird how you learn a cry? Same way with your pet, isn't it? When you have a pet and they make, some kind of a whine or a noise, the one that's the bark that says somebody's at the door, as opposed to the one that, I want my breakfast. Yep, yep. Bit of one. The air just smells fresh. We've had quite a bit of rain lately, which we needed badly.
Yeah, yesterday morning the neighbors had 2 inches. I had 1.5 inches.
But the things we don't need are the tornadoes. I guess, didn't you say they had one over by Philly?
Yeah. That's what I heard the story this morning.
That's the thing that comes along with tornado season. Philly.
And Saturday I had a 1/2 inch.
I think when I was with the Red Cross, that might have been the first tornado that was in Philly that I helped with. Maybe not. Anyway. It really, it was funny because the people that lived in this one house, it kind of came straight down on their house. And if it had come down anywhere else on that house, they would have been killed. But I can't remember exactly where it hit the house, but they were able to get out. I don't know if they actually heard the whir coming or what, but it's a long time ago. But yeah, theirs was the only house that was damaged. There was a lot of trees, and electricity was out. So, but people are so good about coming together and being helpful. A lot of what was farmers coming in and getting water to take out to their animals because all of their pumps are electric, and because they don't have those little but they had to water their animals, and it wasn't a very good time for them, but things got back up and working. There was a little damage in the business district, but I think that one bar and restaurant thing may have had some. I don't know. It's been so long ago. I also remember 9/11. That morning, I woke up and I turned on the TV thinking, get the weather and stuff. And here's these reporters talking about how a plane has just hit one of the towers. I can't remember if it was Tower 1 or Tower 2, but and everybody was like, so I stood there watching it, hoping, because people were kind of running, trying to get out of that debris, and it was just like a cloud of plaster and all of that. And then the plane hit the second one. That's when they knew it was terrorist. It was so upsetting to watch that. And thinking of those people in those buildings and the families that people I watched a reporter just try to drag a couple of people into a building because they couldn't even see. They could hardly see, and breathing was not easy. But I went in to the office that morning and I asked her, what do you want me to do? And so she gave me a task and she took care of the phones. It was heck of a day. And we weren't even anywhere near it. I just can't even imagine. What happened on your day?
Huh?
Oh, that car.
Ugh.
Air compressor went out on his air conditioner on the car. So that's something we have to figure out. It's the bumper that he can't get off to get to it.
Well, I'm gonna have to take it off in order to get the thing out of
Yeah.
there. Ugh.
These new cars. Well, since he doesn't have any good news, I don't know. No, I was so happy we got that. If you haven't watched that short yet, I was out here with my phone, and there was a little bunny across the street. And of course, from here, it looks pretty small, especially on a phone. But I was able to zoom the screen. That's one thing that I was able to make that screen bigger, and got a really good shot of it. And it's through the screen, but you could see it. And when it took off hopping, I was able to follow it somehow, because I'm usually not that prepared. But I was able to follow him, and it made me feel good. I caught some wildlife on film doing its thing. So I called it bunny hop. What else do you call it? I don't know if it probably is getting a little dusky.
It's starting to get dark.
Yeah. Sometimes lately I don't know if it's that or if it's cloudy. But I think it's just,
It's clear sky. It's just getting later, that's all.
yeah. I took a late nap.
And I came in late.
Yeah. He painted the rest of that floor on the back porch yesterday, right? Yeah.
Put the second coat on it.
Looks beautiful. Now we just have to mop it.
Yeah. Sure shows.
It sure, but that porch looks clean.
Yeah. It's a lighter blue than what was originally on there, but it really shows the, if your shoes are dirty, it shows it. The foot tracks.
Yeah. Imagine the other one did too if it had happened to be washed or scrubbed. Who scrubs their porch? We don't think of it most of the time.
Yeah.
People clean their decks more than they clean their back porch floors. I'm being silly, but it's an enclosed porch. Well, you saw it when you saw me paint the window out there.
Yeah.
He had a day, and now he's just Yeah, he's had a chance to sit and he's starting to wear out. It's getting a little dark anyway, but I hope you enjoy this. We didn't really have any big stories, but it was nice just to be out, getting the air and listening to the kids have fun. We'll see you tomorrow. I love you guys. Smile and wave. There's yours, and good night.